The conservative frontman of KISS, Gene Simmons, has come out hard against anti-vaxxers. Nice. All right. So now this all happened on an interview with Talk Shop Live. It's behind a paywall, so I can't show you the video. But basically, the transcript is really interesting. So now in it, Simmons called COVID deniers and anti-vaxxers, quote unquote, the enemy. He said, if you're willing to walk among us unvaccinated, you are an enemy. I'm not sure if I would go with enemy. Yes, dumb, stupid, selfish, perhaps. Well, certainly, because I've said all those things before. Now, that said, if you're pushing COVID denial, but you're already vaccinated or you're secretly vaccinated and you're just doing this for money, like financial reasons, then you're not an ally. You're a shitbag. And that goes for anybody, by the way. If you're on the left and you're pushing vaccine denialism and disinformation for clicks and cash, you're a shitbag. You're not on the left. Simple as that. Now, he also said during the discussion about canceling tour dates, quote, I'm sorry. Let me give you some context first before I get to the quote. He said that's when he and fellow bandmate Paul Stanley had tested positive with breakthrough cases. And even after a guitar tech for the group had died from COVID-19, he said this, I don't care about your political beliefs. You are not allowed to infect anybody just because you think you've got rights that are delusional. True. And again, here's the thing. The virus itself isn't political. The discourse of the virus should have never been political. Period. Now, who made it political? Well, the right wing, generally. People on the right thought this would make a fantastic culture war issue. And these people are Donald Trump, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk, and the list goes on and on. Now, Donald Trump, later on, was like, oh, yeah, you should probably take the vaccine. But at that point, the rot had set in. It was brain. And, well, he got booed at his own rally. Yes, of course. Now, Simmons also continued, he said, you don't have the right to go through a red light. Actually, the government has the right to tell you to stop. All right. Hey, if they tell you you can't smoke in a building, you can't smoke in a building. And that's not because they want to take away your rights. That's because the rest of us hate it. We don't want to smell your smoke. I don't want to catch your disease. I don't want to risk my life just because you want to go through a red light. This whole idea, this delusional, evil idea that you get to do whatever you want and the rest of the world be damned is really terrible. Guy's making sense. Yes, turns out in a country, in a society, you don't get to do whatever you want if it affects other people. Now, for me, I think that if you're not affecting other people, then yes, you should be able to do what you want if you're not hurting anyone else. That's my cardinal rule. Once you start affecting other people's liberty, well, that's when I have a problem. And so that's why I'm in favor of mandates in this case, okay? So again, viruses is about public health. It matters. It matters. And so viruses affect other people. Now, I've heard this response by a lot of conservatives saying, well, if the vaccines work, then why are you so worried about me being unvaccinated? No, again, vaccines do work, but they're not 100%. Few things are 100% in life. We all know this. But again, if you're vaccinated, yes, you are still likely to get less likely to get COVID, but you can still get COVID. Unvaccinated people, though, are way more likely to get COVID and then way more likely to spread COVID, including to people who are vaccinated. In fact, unvaccinated people are 13 times more likely to contract COVID than those who are fully vaccinated, and 20 times more likely to die from COVID, according to a Texas study. Now, Gene Simmons, he's no spring chicken. He's been around for a long time. Okay? He's in his 70s. So people in his age group are more likely to deal with worse cases of COVID because their immune system, again, when you're older, your immune system gets weaker. And, plus you have comorbidities, basically a medical history. Okay? And yes, your immune system weakens with time. And so you have to be more careful around people who are more, who are elderly. And it feels weird to call him elderly, but he technically is. Okay? And so that said, among those aged 75 or older, unvaccinated were 12 times more likely to die from COVID-19. And so you're in a much bigger risk factor when you're older too and are not vaccinated. And again, vaccinated people understand that they're less likely to spread COVID because they're less likely to get COVID in the first place. So if you have more vaccinated people around, generally that reduces transmission. Now, here's another interesting statement. Simmons decided to go after both parties, calling them evil for spreading all kinds of nonsense. Now, originally I read that and I was like, hold on here. What did the Democrats do? But wait. Let me give you the quote, though, because I had to think about this for a minute, and I realized that, I kind of have to take an L here. He said, I don't like either one of them, Democrats or Republicans. Politics are the enemy. Humanity and humanism is what we should all be concerned about. Love thy neighbor as myself. Huh. Again, he makes a good point. Again, this is somebody who generally I don't agree with policy-wise. But like, let me show you an example here, okay? And because again, when I originally thought this, I said, wait, what were Democrats saying and doing about the vaccine? Democrats weren't anti-vax, right? Oh, wait. Now, I remember during the Trump administration, there were people that said things like, I don't know if I can trust a vaccine if it's approved under Trump. In fact, this was Kamala Harris during the debate with former Vice President Mike Pence.
If the Trump administration approves a vaccine before or after the election, should Americans take it, and would you take it?
If the public health professionals, if Dr. Fauci, if the doctors tell us that we should take it, I'll be the first in line to take it. Absolutely. But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
Oh. Look, okay, she said, yes, if the doctors tell me to take it, sure. I trust the doctors, I trust the science. But if Trump tells me to take it, no. Well, then why would you add on that other thing? Why would you? Now, but here's the thing. This is hard to admit, but I've said something similar. I know. It was stupid. It was total Trump derangement moment, and I get it. But you know what? I'm going to own my mistake. That was ridiculous, right? Very, very stupid of me to say. And you know what? I reject myself for saying it. That's it. Now, here's the thing. Again, that ridiculous moment, I turned it around by going, wait a minute. Why don't I actually look it up? Why don't I get more knowledge? So, and again, Trump did not develop the vaccine. The scientists did. Science did. I thought originally that, oh man, it's looking a little rushed. And that was, unfortunately, mainstream liberal thought at the time. Others on the left said, wow, this vaccine looks a little rushed. Maybe we should be a little cautious. And that came from distrust of the administration. Now, I turned out to be absolutely wrong. Because, again, I looked into it. The science for mRNA has been around for some time, and it's sound science. But I point this out. Yes, I'm posting my own L's here because I think it's important to point out what a tribal mentality and a bit of Trump derangement syndrome can do to otherwise intelligent people. We are all human here. Okay? We're all human here. And again, I'm not immune to having a blind spot. And so we on the left, we're supposed to believe in facts. We're supposed to believe in the science, right? And so we have to hold ourselves to a higher standard. Now, that said, I'm not saying that liberals, had Trump won the election, would have been the anti-vaxxers of the day, like the Republican Party is. No, I'm pretty sure they would have all taken the vaccine. All right. But again, the facts speak for themselves on this. But it does show you how tribal and team mentality can really mess with somebody's mind and make smart people, otherwise smart people, say and do stupid things. And it kind of, if you can also apply some of that logic to, Trump supporters, some of the MAGA people or some of Republicans who are like, hey man, you're an educated person, and still believe in some of the nonsense that Trump peddles and that the right peddles. And so, look, we got to be more careful about that. And so, for Gene Simmons to say, yes, politics is the enemy, you're actually right. He's absolutely correct on that. And so that makes sense. That makes sense. And again, this is someone who generally does not agree with Gene Simmons in his politics. I have made videos dunking on him before. And it's because he has said ridiculous things and because he's far more conservative than I am. But that said, I gotta call it. I gotta call it even. Now, that said, I got a couple more quotes here. So now he cited the 5 million dead people from COVID, and he likened coronavirus deniers to the Flat Earth Society, and said this about some of the claims that, oh, it wasn't COVID that killed him. He says, quote, "No, bitch, they died because they got COVID." And in a reference to Aaron Rodgers, who lied about his vaccination status, endangering his teammates and other people, Simmons said this: "I don't care if you play football or not. Stay away from evil people who don't care about your health." Again, look, good on Simmons. I agree with almost everything just about everything he said here. He's right. Go get vaccinated. Do the right thing. And again, guys, it's not about controlling your life. It's not about microchips, like mark of the beast or any of this nonsense culture war stuff. This is about trying to get back to our lives. Trying to reclaim our lives. And look, we don't want to wear masks anymore. Nobody wanted to wear masks. Nobody still wants to wear masks. We don't want to avoid going to places because, God forbid, we take a chance and accidentally give our immunocompromised grandma coronavirus. Now, I'm reading reports that we can give it to pets. 8 big cats at the zoo, and I forget which zoo it was that I read, but a major one just tested positive for COVID. You can give it to cats. So understand, what we want from the vaccine is just to get back to our lives without worrying about all this stuff. Without, not being able to go to the hospital because it's full of COVID patients. There's a hospital an hour away from me. And they are turning people away. It's in a larger metropolitan area, turning people away because guess what? It's full. COVID patients. And I would assume a lot of them are not vaccinated. A good percentage of them, based on the stats of people who are, end up in the hospital that are unvaccinated. And so, guys, do the right thing for yourself and others. Trust me, getting COVID and dying ain't gonna own the libs, okay? It's not the own you think it is when you're 6 feet in the ground. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.